4. ABC 10 News at 5 starts right now.
Tourists are returning to San Diego now that spring break is upon us. The warning county leaders are issuing so we don't see a spike in COVID cases.
Plus, federal lawmakers crossing paths with a record number of migrants on the U.S. southern border seeking asylum. The finger-pointing happening on both sides of the political aisle.
And a local father takes matters into his own hands when he spots a group of thieves under his daughter's car, the hot item they were trying to take but left behind.
ABC 10 News at 5 starts now.
From the beach to the boardwalk, spring break is underway, and San Diego is getting ready for an increase in visitors as we continue to gradually reopen from COVID-19 shutdowns. Good evening, I'm Kimberly Hunt.
And I'm Lindsay Pena. Steve Atkinson has the night off. With San Diego County in the red tier, local leaders are urging people to be careful, saying this is not an excuse to let our guards down. ABC 10 News reporter Leah Pizzetti is joining us with more on how things look now. Leah.
Yeah, so schools are on break right now. Red tier means businesses are opening back up. The weather, of course, is perfect. So, of course, you want to get out to the beach. While beach businesses are loving the increase in foot traffic, our local leaders are warning people to remember to stay safe. The crowds have returned to the beaches. And with temperatures on the rise, the water is calling.
We got surfboards over here, soft ones. We got paddle boards.
Monty Blair with Mission Beach Rentals says this is the best spring break they've had in a while, with visitors back in San Diego. The manager of Hamels nearby says they're also seeing spring break sales increase.
It's up. It's almost at the same numbers. So as far as sales is concerned.
But lifeguards and police say more people visiting is when things can get dangerous.
The crowds on the bay have been large, and a lot of activity. We've seen a lot of vessel accidents. We've seen a lot of speeding.
City of San Diego lifeguard chief James Gartland says the past year has brought increased water activity.
Once boating was one of the few things that you could do, recreational boating, we just saw more and more vessels out on Mission Bay.
So officials have some key reminders. If you're going to rent a boat or watercraft, do it from a legitimate business. You can tell they're safe because they'll walk you through a safety class, can show you their insurance, and they'll give you a renter's pass to keep with you on the water. Also, if you're unsure of a safe place to get in the water, just ask a lifeguard. This year, it's not just water safety to consider. Dr. Corinne McDaniels-Davidson with San Diego State's Institute of Public Health says the pandemic cannot be forgotten as restrictions loosen.
We've learned what can happen if you open too quickly or if you loosen restrictions too quickly, especially after the Thanksgiving and Hanukkah and Christmas surge upon a surge. And I think people are a little more cautious now. They don't want to see that happen again.
Now, we reached out to the San Diego Police Department to see if they have any concerns about any spring break crowds or if they're going to be increasing patrol. They said they're not, and they typically do not increase patrol during this time. Of course, they will be out and about as usual, but they typically save more enforcement for the summertime. Reporting live from Mission Beach, Leah Pizzetti, ABC 10 News.
The beach drawing them in today. Thank you, Leah, for the live update. It's one of the biggest questions people have about the body's response to the COVID-19 vaccine. Can you still get sick even after you're vaccinated? ABC 10 News reporter Jared Aarons takes an in-depth look at a new study that's finally giving us some answers, thanks to doctors at UC San Diego Health.
Healthcare workers were among the first people to get the COVID-19 vaccine in San Diego, and that makes them the best option to find out how effective it is in a real-world setting.
Really, our healthcare worker community is our community.
From December 16th to February 9th, doctors at UC San Diego and UCLA worked tirelessly to vaccinate their employees, an effort to keep them safe as they battled COVID during the winter surge. In total, they gave out 36,659 first doses of the vaccine and 28,184 second doses. At the same time, they were still testing every worker at least once a week. It gave them a unique perspective on the vaccine's ability to prevent infection.
So combining both of those, we were able to show in a short amount of time that the vaccines were working, but of course, as expected, not 100%.
Not 100%, but pretty close. The school released these numbers this week showing that only 379 of the employees they vaccinated got COVID-19, about 1%. A deeper dive into the numbers shows more good news. 71% of the people who tested positive got sick within the first 2 weeks of their first dose, when immunity is just starting to build. After the second shot, only 30 people got COVID within the first 2 weeks, and only 7 after that, when immunity is highest. Doctors in both systems say it shows the vaccine works, even during a surge.
This wasn't unexpected. It just was kind of confirming what was shown in the vaccine trials, but it's showing it in a real life.
But it also shows that infection is still possible, especially in those first few weeks after getting a vaccine. Doctors say people still need to keep their guard up and their masks on.
As we've learned, COVID anywhere could be COVID everywhere. And so we still have to exercise caution while we as a global community kind of take care of each other and get to a better place.
Jared Aarons, ABC 10 News.
6, 7, all done.
Pfizer and Moderna are starting to test to see how the COVID vaccine works in children. They've given out the first dose to children between the ages of 6 months and 11 years. Pfizer is also testing ages 12 to 15 and hopes to have approval in time for next school year. Experts say that will help end the pandemic sooner.
Kids don't get as sick as adults. Some of them do get sick, and we want to protect them. And so getting kids vaccinated is going to be a really important part of getting to herd immunity and really putting this pandemic behind us.
This comes with cases now rising in 20 states. Experts say Americans need to continue wearing masks and social distancing until more people are vaccinated. And China is releasing some details about the World Health Organization's investigation into the origins of the novel coronavirus. The WHO says that it is still finalizing the report and it's not ready to release it. China says the experts agree the most likely cause was a bat biting a human, or a bat biting a mammal that spread it to a human, or in shipments of cold or frozen food. The U.S. and other countries have raised concerns about whether China influenced the investigation. And you can keep up with any developments surrounding the pandemic by downloading our free mobile app. Just go to the App Store and search 10 News.
Lawmakers continue to engage in a game of finger pointing over who's to blame for the surge of migrants at our southern border. ABC's Andrew Dimbert has the latest on the situation.
Federal lawmakers crossing paths with migrants on the U.S. southern border amid the surge of immigrants trying to reach American soil. Officials say some 17,000 children making the dangerous journey alone are now in U.S. custody. But Republican senators like Lindsey Graham say the solution is to send those kids back into the uncertain wilderness they just risked their lives traversing.
You've got to shut it off. You've got to tell people don't come.
President Biden, in his first formal news conference since taking office, acknowledging there is work to be done, but unapologetic for not turning kids away.
What a desperate act to have to take. The circumstances must be horrible.
Saying leaving children by themselves on the Mexican side of the border is out of the question.
The idea that I'm going to say, which I would never do, that if an unaccompanied child ends up at the border, we're just going to let him starve to death and stay on the other side. No previous administration did that either, except Trump.
The explosion of migrants risking everything to get to the U.S. is only growing by the day. The administration remains adamant the border is closed, and the White House is denying entry to families making the expedition with adults. Even if they have children, if a parent is present, they're not getting in.
The overwhelming majority of people coming to the border and crossing are being sent back.
Meanwhile, border intake facilities are being stretched thin. So many surging beyond capacity limits. Images provided by Customs and Border Patrol inside one shows children huddled together, some sleeping on floors.
The ultimate goal is to get kids into the safest place, which is with family.
The Department of Homeland Security says it is opening additional temporary detention centers, and despite Border Patrol's 3-day limit on holding minors, many are still being held for a week or longer. Andrew Dimbert, ABC News, Washington.
The San Diego Convention Center could house unaccompanied migrant children as soon as this weekend. The U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and FEMA selected the center as an emergency intake site. Organizers say it can accommodate up to 1,400 children until July 1st. The children will be cared for until they can be safely processed. They'll then be released to a sponsor or transferred to an ORR shelter for longer-term care.
A combination of human and mechanical errors are being blamed for the deadly amphibious assault vehicle accident off San Clemente Island last July. It claimed the lives of 8 Marines and 1 sailor. A report was released detailing the results of a months-long investigation by the Marines. It found maintenance was disregarded, causing mechanical failures. It also noted the AAV crew was not properly trained, causing the vehicle to flip and the water to enter through the open hatch.
There's a lot of training that goes into this as far as safety and other procedures. However, you got to remember there's a human factor. It's too.
Earlier this week, the Marines relieved Colonel Christopher Bronzy of duty. He was the commanding officer in charge of the unit during the time of the accident. A 13-year-old girl accused of killing 2 men when she took her mother's car for a joyride is pleading not guilty. The crash was caught on a surveillance camera in Escondido. Police say the girl tried to escape police after they tried to pull her over for a traffic stop. She crashed into the bushes where 2 men were sleeping. Both were killed. The girl was taken to juvenile hall yesterday. She's due back in court next month.
First time I was like, oh my gosh, she's just running out there barefoot.
A North Park man springs into action when he wakes up to thieves at work under his daughter's car. As ABC 10 News reporter Michael Chen tells us, this latest incident is part of a sharp increase in catalytic converter thefts.
Past 1:30 in the morning Thursday, and just off 30th Street, Karina Diaz was asleep in her bedroom while her father, Javier, was in the living room.
He fell asleep on the couch and he just woke up to that drilling sound.
Barefoot and wearing boxers, Javier is seen in surveillance video leaping into action.
Saw the car, pulled up next to my car, and he knew instantly what they were doing.
After a laugh and some cursing, several people get into the car and drive off. Karina's dad got into his truck.
Followed them a couple blocks down and tried to retrieve that license plate. But again, they were going so fast through the neighborhood that he couldn't get a clear view.
Back at home, this is what was left behind. The catalytic converter cut out of Karina's 2008 Toyota Prius.
Definitely going to be costly.
Her insurance plan won't cover the theft, so Karina must pay the $2,000 repair bill out of pocket. It was just 2 years ago thieves stole a catalytic converter out of the same car.
It is really frustrating.
Frustrations shared by many car owners. In San Diego, between July and December, nearly 250 catalytic converters were stolen, an increase of more than 600% from the first part of the year. The devices are stolen for precious metals contained inside. The Prius is the most targeted by thieves. Karina hoping these thieves will be caught. Her father was able to get a partial plate.
I'm glad he reacted quickly and, proud that happy he's okay.
Michael Chen, ABC 10 News.
Karina's father saw the plate. The number 8 is in it and possibly the letters T and F. Anyone with information is asked to call San Diego police.